It's David Gerber here with Novus Global, and I want to walk you through one of our favorite exercises, which we call the FACTS exercise. As you can see with the acronym on the board behind me with FACTS, it's determining what are we frustrated about, avoiding, complaining about, tolerating, or scared of. Now, to give a context for this, what it really allows us to do is it allows us to get the current lay of the land. And one of the ways that we frame this is it allows us to both access and assess the conversation that's happening in our head about what's going on in our world. So different things that we're doing personally, professionally, what's happening in our life at home, in our life at the office, or life in a virtual office, if you will. And so it allows us to think through everything. And so what it allows us to do is it allows us to determine where we're at with current reality. And I'm going to walk through a few examples of these. And what we're going to say is that the facts, the things that we're frustrated about, for example, if we flip them, then we get our vision, we get what we actually want. So if let's say I'm frustrated about how much I procrastinate, then what we do is if we flip it, then the vision becomes that I want to not procrastinate. And then we could push that a little bit further and say, well, I want to be a person of really great discipline who gets things done and is very productive and efficient with my time. So that would be the vision. So now we've got the current reality, we've got the vision, and then we can determine the gap and figure out what are the gaps that are in our way, what action gaps, what mindset gaps are slowing us down and creating an obstacle to us being really productive and efficient with our time. And so as you're thinking this through, the way the exercise goes is to write this down and then to go through each one and think through your world and think through what things am I frustrated about right now? What things am I avoiding? Am I avoiding a certain conflict? Am I avoiding a conversation? Am I avoiding a certain bill that I'm supposed to pay? Really thinking through what am I avoiding right now? What am I complaining about? Am I complaining about traffic? Am I complaining about a certain vendor or a client or my boss? What am I tolerating? What am I putting up with? And then what am I scared of, right? Really just getting honest with ourselves and just reflecting for a moment. Again, allowing us to access and assess the conversation going on in our head. Now that allows us to determine current reality. And then once we write those things down, then the process kicks in where I get to take time and flip those things and to say, okay, so this is my complaint. If I'm complaining about this conflict, let's say, for example, with a colleague of mine or a boss. So the current reality is I'm complaining about the conflict, the person, maybe I feel like I've been wronged or whatever. And then the vision would be, let's say, for example, that the conflict is resolved, that you have a great relationship with this other person, that you know that you're on the same team with the other person, and that you can move forward in the business or the relationship or whatever it is. So then now we've got the vision, we've got the current reality, and then you can start to say, okay, what's it going to take for that to happen? Maybe I need to get off of my need to be right, or I need to let go of my need to be right about something. Perhaps a step would be to be curious about the other person's world. And then the action step might be to call the person up and schedule a meeting to discuss the conflict. Now, as you can imagine, you're going to come up against different gaps that are going to show up because maybe if it's a conflict, maybe there's some fear there around the conflict. So you've got another gap. And so then you've got the current reality is there's a fear there. And then what would the vision be? So if you could flip the fear, then what would the vision be? And so the vision would be that I wouldn't be afraid. And then the vision would be that I'm courageous with regard to this conflict. So then you can go, fear is current reality, courage is the vision. And then you think, okay, what's it going to take for me? What are the small steps it takes for me to go from fear to courage? So those are a couple of examples of how you can go about this. And so again, fairly simple exercise. The first step is write down the things that you're frustrated about, avoiding, complaining about, tolerating, or scared of. Then work on flipping those, because those things will reveal what we call latent vision. Determine the vision and then start to go to work on the gaps. And then our encouragement is to find a place where you can make those commitments to take actions and then share those with at least one other person. That way now it takes it from being a private commitment to a public commitment. and then start to act on those things. And then you'll go back to the drawing board after you take those actions. And then it becomes like a daily or a weekly or a monthly process, or however often you want to go about it.